another opportunity. This is your boy JB, also known as I am Battlestrong, and we have stronger and stronger, hence leading to an excellent opportunity for growth.
God.
So let's hop right into chapter.
It is.
It is. It says, leave, leave alone asking, leave alone asking help at work in order to accomplish a particular task. It is even more difficult for most people to seek help when they're mentally ill. People rather ask for help at work when overwhelmed with something, when overwhelmed with something, than seeking mental health help treatment. This is ironic, right? They always think that they'll get stigmatized when they do that. I have always advised people that seeking mental health treatment is just like seeing a physician or an eye doctor. It is never a sign of weakness, as many people think. Being an African, many of us tend to believe that seeking mental health treatment is a sign of weakness. It says this is false. Many are turning into psychotic, pretending to be okay for a long time when clearly I was suffering from the inside. It says my mental health problems didn't come from anything else inside, arise from treatment that I was getting from a group of unsympathetic individuals while in Virginia. I not only was being turned into a monster, but also a psychopath. Do you know what? I'm very happy today because my personality never changed. I'm still the loving, caring, compassionate, and determined individual. Wherever they are, they're probably wondering, how the hell did he come out of this bondage? The answer is simple and clear. I believed in God and sought his help at the right time. Amen. Says when I moved to Oklahoma, I remember crying, I can't function anymore. I need help. Without wasting any time, I started taking action. I had faith that I would be able to function again. After going through counseling, I found very supportive providers who helped me with finding a good counselor. The counselor not only helped me recover, but he also guided me to come up with positive coping skills, which I have been applying in my life still today. I don't think I would have been the same today if I didn't take the best course of action. I would have been a loco. We all have some things in life that we can't deal with on our own without being talked through by someone who's an expert, and this applied to my situation. I needed someone to talk me through it. I needed counseling. I had gone through a series of traumatic experiences that were evident and clear. The events were traumatizing to the point whereby I felt powerless. My brain had reached its limit whereby it couldn't process any more traumas. I was even afraid of myself. I knew people weren't only not afraid of me, but also scared for me. I was raging. Have you ever heard of the side caps? These are symptoms that are collectively known as Criteria A and DSM 5. The acronym stands for sleep, interest, guilt, energy, as well as concentration, appetite, psychomotor, and suicidal ideation. All of them were affected except suicidal ideation. Surprisingly, I never had any thoughts of wanting to die. If I would have had them, I could have never acted on them under any circumstances. I would like to inform you that on this earth, nothing is permanent. You might think that your problems will never go away. You might think that this is the end of the world, but I want to let you know that everything is possible. If I overcame what I was going through, why can't you do it? You can do it. You can't me. The only place where you'll find peace on earth is church. All my services at Life Church, some of the sermons that were preached by Pastor Craig Rochelle related to my problems. Pastor Craig Rochelle is the founder and senior pastor of Life Church. He's the creator of the Craig Rochelle Leadership Podcast and the best-selling author. Some of the books he's written, and I have read them, are Winning the War in Your Mind and Lead Like It Matters. They are very powerful books. I found them helpful given the situation I was in. Besides Pastor Craig, I met Pastor Ronnie Brumley and other great leaders like Carlos Garcia, who not only made me feel comfortable, but also encouraged me to be part of their team. I joined them without hesitation, and since then, things have taken to positive turn. You should never take mental health for granted. It is very important. Once you lose it, your physical health will not only be affected, but also the way you interact with others. Interactions with your coworkers, friends, and family members of your family will be compromised. In the U.S. Air Force, its members are taught to use four pillars of comprehensive airman fitness. These are the social, spiritual, physical, and mental. You can see mental is there also. These four pillars help build and sustain resilience in the workplace and community. So, we got some comments here on the dead homies. This ain't it, bruh. I need segments like okay. All right. So my first question is
Yes.
do you think anyone out there, let's say they have, they have something they're going through and they need help. I always used to say this because I know when I was going through rock bottom, it was
Yes.
hard for me to ask for help. It was very hard for me to ask for help because you just you do want to do it on your own, and sometimes that can come with pride or ego,
Yep.
but it can also stem from insecurities too, just not feeling good enough or not having the faith, like you said, keeping our faith is very important. So I guess my first question would be, what at what point did you start feeling more comfortable asking people for help?
Yeah. And when it comes to asking for help, it's not always easy because most of us tend to perceive it as a sign of weakness. And
Hmm.
again, given the fact that I was going through some very, very difficult times and I was falling apart mentally, I needed to do something. And
Yeah.
I knew by asking for help, it was one way of taking one of the biggest steps in my life in order to recover from what was happening at the time. And
Right.
again, coming all the way from Virginia after experiencing the intense bullying and some form of discrimination, I came back to Life Church, the church I knew before I joined military, and I met some people that helped me. Mhm.
You're your own savior.
Yep, you are.
It's I believe in asking for help for sure, but
Yeah.
oftentimes, sometimes we can come across, even ourselves. I know I can't think of a time, honestly, I wasn't willing to help myself, but
Mm.
there is a difference between being willing to help yourself
Yep.
and be in that process of helping yourself and asking for help. But
Hmm.
just sitting there when he says be
Hmm.
your own savior, what he's
Yep.
saying is, and what he's reiterating is, you have to take action. You
Yep.
can't sit there and wake up every day and say,
Yeah.
hey God, when's my life gonna change? Hey, I
Hmm.
need some money. Hey, I need this. Hey, I need
Hmm.
that. Hey, I need
Yeah.
this. And that's not how life works. So
Yep.
it's like it's always and just like you said, faith without works is dead, and that's in the
Hmm.
Bible. So
Yep.
again, it's
Hmm.
almost like just telling God, hey, this is what I'm working towards. This is what I
Yep.
want.
Hmm.
Teach me during these trials and tribulations, right?
Hmm.
Because everything isn't always what it seems, and
Hmm.
we also don't pray to God for things, and then He just here, let me just whip it up like magic,
Hmm.
and give it to us.
Yeah.
He builds our faith, through those trials and tribulations, and I think asking for help is very crucial, as well as, like you mentioned, professional counseling.
Yes.
Um, now I now in Africa,
Hmm.
it's the perspective is very interesting because in Africa, you mentioned in your book,
Hmm.
that it's pretty much looked at as taboo. Anyone that mentions mental health or pretty much is going through any mental health, they're
Yeah.
considered like psychotic and stuff,
Yes.
and part of witchcraft. So I guess for people that could be struggling in Africa, first and foremost, this is a healthy space for you to ask for prayer. We
Hmm.
won't condemn you. We won't
Yeah.
throw stones at you or anything. We're here with you. So you can watch from anywhere in the world and
Yeah.
be supported and prayed
Yeah.
for. So I do want to
Absolutely.
make that very clear. But your experience with being in Kenya and right in Africa, what have you seen in your country as far as the reasons for why people, of course, are going through mental health crisis, outside of what the average norm may assume, right? Like poverty and stuff like that. But is there
Yes.
any direct um, issues at hand that you know of that are probably pertaining to why people are struggling mentally?
Yeah, and again, in most African countries, the issue of stigma is very huge, not only in Kenya. And I did highlight through the book. But again, some of the main causes of mental struggle in most African countries is poverty. Poverty could be one of them, and also lack of finance, and that come from poverty as well.
Yeah,
And you see corruption. Corruption's
yeah.
major, lack of jobs, and
Hmm.
again, all these things. If you don't have any financial support, if you don't have anything to depend on to help your family, it can cause to a lot of stresses, and all this lead to depression, and later on it leads to other conditions. It starts from one thing, and it develops to another. Yeah, we talk
Right.
about one thing lead to another, right? And
Hmm.
from lack of finance, lack of support from either the government, it can derail to other things, and later on you're struggling with other issues. Help when needed without being condemned or being associated with people who like be involved in witchcraft or cast individuals in the communities. And those are some of the
Mm.
stereotypes, and those are some of the things they associate them with.
Mm.
Hopefully
Okay.
I answered your question.
Yeah, no, you answered that very thoroughly, and I appreciate that because that gives us, in America who's never been to Kenya, a
Yes.
perspective. And for those who's never been through poverty,
Hmm.
I mean, of course, American poverty, we're one of the 10th wealthiest countries like in the world. So our poverty is
Hmm.
not poverty compared to Africa. I want to make that very, very clear.
Yes.
It's not the same.
Hmm.
And so when we look at the American culture, right? And we
Hmm.
look at what stems because when I go out and serve the community, the homeless,
Hmm.
they're struggling with the American poverty, right?
Yes.
Now we see jobs for the homeless. They have all different types of resources here for the homeless. But when you
Hmm.
go to Kenya, I
Yes.
guess my question would be, what type of resources, or is there resources? Is there mental health help in Africa, or are those, is there that kind of taboo where you kind of just stay under the radar if you are a counselor?
Yeah, I believe we do have mental health facilities still. And again, most of these facilities, they're not developed, and they don't have a lot of resources. If that's the way I can put it, we still have them there, and it's just a matter of having the right information or the right resources to help these people who are struggling mentally. And again, it
Right.
comes from poverty still, and corruption
Yeah.
as well.
Yep. Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you got poverty and corruption together, I mean
Yes.
that's gonna affect anybody. I mean, that's
Yes.
gonna affect any society, any
Mhm.
geographical area and stuff
Mhm.
like that. When you add sustainability and resources to a specific geographic location, like let's say Kenya, let's
Yes.
say we send thousands and thousands of mental health experts,
Mhm.
and all different types of people, that are there to assist people for mental
Yes.
health. I
Mhm.
believe also sharing the gospel too. Sharing
Mhm.
Jesus Christ is a way for us, I believe, to heal mentally. Because as
Yeah.
Colin says in his book, as he was going to Life Church, he
Mhm.
found that support. And
Yep.
that's what's awesome about us being
Mhm.
the church is when we are the church,
Yep.
we're there. Like Collins is my
Mhm.
brother. We're growing spiritually. We're
Yep.
growing intellectually as well with these books, and
Mhm.
growing in our faith.
Yeah.
And that is very crucial because when we seek to build those connections and those relationships that he's been through,
Yes.
through discrimination, through his workplace, even
Mhm.
almost being encouraged to get into a relationship with a coworker, right? Like
Yeah.
they went all over the place to try to deteriorate his mental health. But as
Yes.
you guys see, he's alive and well. He's battle strong. So I want people to understand that. That's where that
Yeah.
comes from. Is we all
Mhm.
struggle
Mhm.
spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, right? Especially if we're lacking resources, um, we're gonna struggle intellectually
Yes.
because we
Mhm.
don't have the resources, and we see that in public schools, right, in America.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when we look at when we compare it and contrast, poverty in America and then poverty in Kenya, he's seen both worlds. So
Yep.
Collins has firsthand experience
Hmm.
with what poverty looks like there, and I just for anyone that is struggling mentally, I do, especially us men, we need you to reach out for help. I need you
Yep.
to type in the comments and say, at least pray for me, something. So that way
Yep.
I know who to pray for because, guys, it's important.
Yep.
Um, the important thing is, guys, is we value a lot of people more when they pass
Mhm.
away.
Yep.
And that's not how life is supposed to be. We're supposed
Yep.
to enjoy life now and be happy.
Yep.
Like you guys saw
Hmm.
in his book, yeah, he struggled really bad mentally, right? He was feeling psychotic. But he told you, he never lost his character. He never lost who he was, and
Yep.
he's happy now. And
Mhm.
why? It's because he's living with purpose. And
Yep.
so I think that also stems uh, from of course the rebuilding stage of personal growth and development. You wanting to better yourself as a young man,
Yep.
contribute to your community, serve
Hmm.
our country. Like
Yep.
I have so much respect for you, Collins, and I appreciate you for being as transparent as you are through your book because a lot of young men need it. And I know a lot of young men, they do watch the lives, and it's just very crucial for us to talk about these issues and
Yep.
also let it be known that it's okay to go get help. Like it's
Yep.
okay to seek help. It's okay
Hmm.
to say, I'm not okay. And it's
Hmm.
okay to ask for help. Just always make sure you're willing to help yourself. Um, and I'm not trying to go on a tangent, but what I'm saying is,
Yep.
guys, is for me personally, I was in
Hmm.
a place once upon a time where God showed me something. And he said, Joshua, he said, you are so far down underwater,
Hmm.
and those that love you are reaching down and they're trying to save you, but
Hmm.
their arm is all the way in the water. and
Yep.
and that was okay for a little bit because they want to help you. But Joshua, by the time their face gets underwater and they're reaching farther down, they can't breathe at that point. And so
Hmm.
sometimes, guys, we got to understand it. We always have to be willing to help ourselves
Yes.
before we're just helpless. The enemy wants us to feel helpless. The enemy wants us to feel like there's
Hmm.
this is it. Take your life. Nobody loves you. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants to be around you. That's the
Hmm.
enemy speaking to you.
Yep.
Okay?
Hmm.
God is with us. God is with us and he's never against us. And I do want to let any of you guys know, for all the rejects, black sheep, whatever, your step, you might feel far away from God, or maybe you made some decisions recently and you feel like, man, God's never going to forgive me. I want to
Hmm.
let you know that God is with you. And no matter how far you feel away from God, God is only one step away. He's right there. You just have to turn and accept him. And like he said in his book, the only peace that we can get on earth, like you can
Hmm.
buy some peace of mind, you can
Hmm.
buy some life insurance and get some peace of mind, but
Yep.
there's no peace of mind like having Jesus in your heart and understanding that this is
Hmm.
not our home.
Yep.
So there's going to be a day where we don't suffer. There's going
Yep.
to be a day where we don't have, any more trauma
Hmm.
that deteriorates our mind, body, and soul. There won't be any poverty. And so my goal is here for people by the end of this video to understand that it's important to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. And you got to think to yourself, would you rather reach out to someone and ask for help, even if it's a stranger, and realize, wow, there is love out there.
Yes.
There is people out there that don't know you that will pray for you. There's
Hmm.
people out there that don't know you that will celebrate you, that will support you. And
Hmm.
so I just want people to understand that this is always a safe place. We might
Yes.
have some trolls in the comments from sometimes, but they come, they go.
Yep.
Those that are going to stick around, guys, we're a family here. This is I am Battlestrong, and
Yes.
we are always going to continue to battle strong.
Hmm.
It's not battle weak. We battle strong over here, spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, geographically, and
Hmm.
socially. And
Yes.
so it's all about growing over here. And so
Yes.
it reminds me of his thing in the book. He said
Hmm.
the four pillars. When he
Yes.
mentioned the four pillars, it was
Of the
what?
U.S. Air Force. Hmm.
Yeah, the U.S. Air Force.
Hmm.
It reminded me here. Let me see. I'll
It's
read
again.
them back to y'all.
Hmm. It's going to
It
be spiritual,
was. Hmm.
mental,
Yep, mental. Let me see.
physical,
Mental, physical, and then where'd he go? Mental, physical.
and
Oh
social.
yeah, mental, physical, social. Yep, social, spiritual, physical, and mental.
Yes.
Comprehensive airman fitness. And so
Hmm.
when he read those guys, I want you to write that on a piece of paper. Write
Yes.
down physical,
Hmm.
mental, social, and spiritual. And then
Hmm.
ask yourself every single day, or not ask yourself, but make a check mark. Say
Hmm.
every single day, I'm going to do something spiritually to grow, physically to grow,
Hmm.
mentally to grow, and then the other one was
Social.
social, social,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And the more socially stronger we get, the more resources we have, right,
Hmm.
to reach out for help, right?
Yep.
And so,
Hmm.
um, man, Collins, thank you so much for this, man. A- every child, every young man out there that comes across this,
Hmm.
never feel bad asking for help unless you're
Yeah.
not willing to help yourself at all.
Yeah.
Because then you'll burden somebody else, who might
Yeah.
be getting out of their trials and tribulation stage. So just always understand that if you don't have no one around, you always have Jesus, and
Hmm.
then always seek to understand your situation as well. Say,
Hmm.
okay, this is how I'm feeling. Like identify it. Okay, I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling suicidal or whatever it may be that you're going through. Be honest with yourself, whatever way you're feeling,
Hmm.
write it down, and I want you to cross know who this artist is, but because it's different and they're telling their story, it gives me a different perspective that's not mine.
Yes.
And it allows me to learn, just like this book, just the other day.
Yes. Just the other day, and again, it was actually a short chapter as well as the other one. We went course
Yeah,
burnout, and before you know, you're falling apart into pieces. And again, you
yeah,
show the example of my chaplain. We are fired up when connected and burned out when disconnected. You know,
yeah,
and it applies to
yeah.
many workplaces because people are disconnected and they don't want to help each other, and
Right.
that's what caused burnout at the end.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I totally agree, man. And burnout is real. You can burn out
Yes.
spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, all the ways. That's why I am Battlestrong 101 tackles all these areas, because
Hmm.
when I was at rock bottom,
Yes.
um, I I was empty on every single level, and my life
Hmm.
didn't start to progress and get better until I started taking care of my spiritual health in the mornings. That's
Hmm.
mandatory every single morning. That's why you
Yes.
guys see me do the daily devotionals, then the
Mhm.
battle stick workouts. That's my physical health, and
Yes.
then the social health, of course, stuff like this,
Hmm.
interacting, networking with people from all over the world.
Hmm.
And then, of course, you got the I Am Battle Strong Monday through Sunday, I am
Hmm.
Battlestrong 101, which this is part of.
Hmm.
But yeah, guys, I mean, you got to start somewhere. So just remember mind, body, soul. That's
Hmm.
the first three things that I believe that
Hmm.
anybody should work on and
Yep.
put a focus on. Not
Yep.
finances, mind, body, and soul. We all
Hmm.
need to make money, but God didn't put us on this earth to just pay bills. He put
Hmm.
us on this earth for a reason, but we can't fulfill our purpose or pursue it if our mind, body, and soul isn't together and one and in a good spot.
And they
So
say
I
the
highly
greatest.
encourage it.
Sorry, they say the
Oh no,
greatest
you're fine.
battle is in our mind, right?
Yeah,
and
battles
that's
the greatest battles in our mind.
and that's why and that's why you saw I did talk about Craig Groeschel's book, "Winning War in Your
Mhm.
Mind."
Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
if you don't have a copy, I have it here. You can find it on.
Always be involved in sports like other students.
Yes.
So I'm excited to read that chapter and continue to know more about Collins. And
Yes.
guys, you guys stay tuned because who knows, we might take y'all to. It might be a surprise, but we might take y'all to Kenya this year. So you guys got to stay tuned. So any questions you guys have of Kenya,
Mhm.
if you guys want to know what's the favorite food,
Yes.
if you guys research any questions you guys have about Kenya, I would love to know because
Hmm.
we will be going there. The date will be announced eventually, but we will be going to Kenya. I am Battlestrong will be in Kenya, and so I want you guys to ask as many questions as possible because I want to go there with tons of questions and just do ethnographic research and studies of Africa and the poverty, the different um, what is it, the different issues that stem there, so that way we can help
Mhm.
solve them with solutions. Whether we
Yes.
got to come from America and go there, it doesn't matter. I am Battlestrong will go anywhere and
Yeah.
to serve, and I'm very grateful for the invite from Collins. And so you guys stay tuned. And so if you guys have any questions about Kenya, any questions about the culture, if you guys
Mhm.
know any organizations that also donate or contribute to nonprofits, I am
Mhm.
Battlestrong would love to receive more volunteers or more help. I would love to donate whatever I could to those in Kenya and do whatever we can, right? We're just starting somewhere. You got to start somewhere. But
Yeah.
I want you guys to know my intentions. My intentions is to serve everywhere I go. So y'all stay tuned for
Really.
that because we'll be in Kenya one day, and
Yeah. Absolutely.
it'll be going. It's going down. I'm excited for it. I
Absolutely,
really am.
Joshua. Absolutely, Joshua. And you mentioned about be able to even see some of the issues we experience in those countries, being third world countries, you know. And you come
Yep.
here in Europe and America, people struggling with racism, police brutality, and again, if you happen to travel all the way to Kenya, people are fighting with corruption,
Mhm.
tribalism, and those are some of the issues that we need to see and be able to see with our own eyes, you know.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
by being exposed to it, you will realize the reality, you know.
Yep, and that's if you guys that have subscribed, you guys know we're all about transparency over here. So
Yes,
sometimes it's not always the safest, but
yes,
God didn't call us to be comfortable, right? Sometimes we
mhm,
got to get uncomfortable, and when we do take this trip to Kenya, I've been processing it. I
mhm,
don't know what to expect. I do know he's from there. That's his hometown, so I know I'm in good hands. We also have God with us,
mhm,
and I have plans on communicating with as many people as I can and
mhm.
serving, praying for people, and hopefully by with the power of prayer, being able to
American countries, the European and South America or North American continent. And again, it's just a matter of knowing that all of us we struggle with issues, and I did put that in each and every one of us has a story. I said in everyone you see or hear about is fighting a battle you have no idea about. But and
yeah,
also the way I did put my quote in that chapter, every country here about is fighting a war you have no idea about. So it's good to go there and experience and see, because sometimes we also have these negative descriptions associated with Africa, and it's not always
yeah.
true. It's good to explore and see by yourself, you know?
Absolutely. We're gonna break stereotypes and then
Yes,
some. Put smiles on a bunch of people's faces, give a lot
yes,
of hugs, give a lot of
yes.
love.
Hmm.
And I can't wait to show people, the
Hmm.
the things that people won't see unless you're actually there. So
Hmm.
firsthand being there, having that point of view, from the
Yes,
food, from the culture, from the
yes,
good, from the bad, just life,
yes.
guys. We share
Hmm.
life together, and that's the best part is we
Yes.
might be far away from one another in all
Hmm.
different regions or whoever
Yeah.
tunes into this video. But when
Hmm.
we come together, especially when we come together with the body of Christ, the Holy Spirit is there and with us. And so may we find peace. May we find restoration. May we find love, unity,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
community in this safe space of the I Am
Hmm.
Battle Strong podcast and,
Yeah.
of course, his podcast as well. And
Hmm.
so, guys, if you have any questions, type them in below or
Yes.
save them for next week so that way we can answer them then. Y'all
Mhm.
stay tuned because we got a lot. We're just getting started, y'all.
Yeah.
Feels like
Yeah.
just the other day when we just started. But
We
you
just
guys already
started.
know what time it is. Just the
Hmm.
other day. It
And
can be
again,
found
I
on
believe,
Amazon.
did you forget to say another day is always another opportunity?
Oh yeah, another day is always another opportunity. You guys already know what time it is. And
Yes.
so again, you guys can get this book on Amazon. I
Hmm.
highly suggest going to get this book. Especially if you're a preschool teacher or not a preschool teacher, a teacher that loves to read books. If you need a great book, a great suggestion, get this book. Just the Other Day, written by Collins. And Collins, how do
Yeah.
you correctly pronounce your last name?
Oh, thank you. It's going to be. I know. You've seen it multiple times, but the way it's pronounced is Ombikhwa.
Ombikhwa. I like
Yes,
that. Ombikhwa.
Ombikhwa. Yeah,
So
that's.
just the other day by Collins Ombikhwa can be found on Amazon. So
Mhm.
feel free to go check out his book. And guys, he also has another book called Racism in America. Or I'm sorry, not in
Not in
America.
America.
Racism in football, aka soccer. I respect that and I appreciate that.
I'm very sure. Thank you so much. And again, we will go through things in life. That's the reality. And the way you navigate through those things is how define you. And again, it goes all the way from when I was there, this young male bullying me for not having a girlfriend. Who does that?
Yeah, right.
Who
Yep.
does that?
Yeah,
So
I got bullied for not having sex at a young
yeah,
age.
yeah.
Yeah,
But at my age, I'm being bullied for not having a girlfriend. That's unacceptable. And I believe this guy was just he was just I don't want to I don't want to define him really poorly or bad, but he had some issues on his end. And again, it was just a matter of approaching him very well and avoiding him at
right.
all cost. I couldn't allow again
Yeah.
his evil behavior pollute mine. That's what I said in the last chapter, if you remember. Mm,
Hmm.
yes, and
Yeah.
again, it's just a matter of how you respond to those things, and again, it will make you the person you want to be. You know.
Amen.
Mm.
No, you're
And
right.
again,
You're absolutely
mm,
right, brother.
and
You're right.
I said in the last chapter, I will never give up. Tough times never last, but tough people do.
They do. It's true.
Yes.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Hmm.
It's absolutely true. And
Yeah.
also, Luke 137 says, "For with God, nothing shall be impossible." So when you
Hmm.
feel like it's impossible to find supportive friends, impossible to find support, impossible to find a
Yeah.
better career,
Hmm.
impossible to pay off debt, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
all things are possible with God. So just keep that in
Hmm.
mind and continue
Yeah.
to battle strong. Trials and tribulations lead
Tribulations.
to testimonies.
Hmm. Trials and
Yes, sir.
tribulations lead to testimonies.
Yes, every
Yes,
single time.
absolutely.
And the
Absolutely.
only
Thank
person that's going to be with you through all the trials and tribulations is
you. Hmm.
Jesus Christ and
Yeah.
those who are probably meant to be in your life for a reason.
Wow. Wow. Thanks so
Yeah.
much, Joshua. And
You're
again,
welcome.
I can't wait for the next session. We
Me
can
too.
definitely talk offline how that will be, and I'm looking forward to tuning more. But I can't wait on the one on dealing with difficult people because we are surrounded by a lot of them. You know.
We are. We are. And that's in the next chapter, right?
No, that's not next chapter. That's going to be chapter 16, actually.
Oh, 16. Yeah, guys,
Yeah.
we got it. That's what I'm saying. We just getting started, y'all.
Yes.
This is
And
a great podcast.
mhm. And that's going to be the chapter 16, and then chapter 17 being prepared for the unexpected, and the last one being stay good to yourself. So those are some of the chapters that actually are the core of this book. You know, I did
Yep.
go over learn to say no to bullies in chapter
Lead to
leads to testimonies.
testimonies.
Hmm.
And another day is always another opportunity to
Yep.
battle strong.
Yes.
Until next time,
Absolutely.
y'all, have a great
That's
night.
it. Oh, you too. Mhm.